Angry Bears Fan Podcast, episode 147. We've all had a couple days to digest the draft. Was a lackluster leading up, not a lot of stars, but Bears fans were really locked in. It was an important draft for us. Didn't really necessarily go how everybody wanted it to go, but after having a few days to sit with it, I'm not as worried as I was on draft night, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't go the way that us fans wanted it to go. It went the way Ben Johnson wanted it to go.
Seems so.
Um, from what, all the stuff that I've kind of just seen in interviews and heard and everything else like that, he was very excited about the Logan Jones pick, center out of Iowa. Iowa always produces good offensive linemen, so I'm not too worried about that pick. The head scratcher for me was the Sam Roush, tight end from Stanford in the third round. That kind of threw me for a loop, and then the fourth round pick, the wide receiver from I forgot what his something Thomas, the Tavion
Xavon
Thomas or
Thomas
whatever.
from LSU.
Yeah. 4.28 40, so he's got speed. They'll use him in a lot of roles. From what I understand, he, took some snaps at running back as well. I know that gives a lot of Bears fan, Velus Jones flashbacks. And I've seen a lot of comparisons, to the two in terms of the picks, but there's a difference between, a Ben Johnson gadget guy and a Matt Eberflus gadget guy. I'm going to trust Ben Johnson with that. Um, and again, I've talked about it ad nauseum with Ryan Poles and the way he drafts. He loves the athletic freaks, those Raz guys. They got that kid from Georgia Tech that scored a 9.99 on the Raz, the highest, Raz scoring defensive tackle in the history of the draft. Um, they usually don't amount to much, but um, maybe he can fit in Dennis Allen's scheme. I really like the corner that they got, Muhammad. I think he's going to be,
I
I
agree.
think
He
he's
ran
going to
very
come in
well
and
too.
compete for corner two right away. So I mean, yeah, like you said, I now that I've had time to digest, I see the vision. I see where they were going with it. But at the same time, you just gotta kind of you gotta pick and choose your battles here, and I'm going to trust Ryan Poles and Dennis Allen on this, as well as Ben Johnson.
I mean, at this point, that's all we can do. But I agree with a lot of things you said. In the moment when we were watching the draft, we were kind of like, "What the fuck?" But after looking back and looking at all the picks, we were just in a weird spot where there were no edge rushers or really good defensive linemen to get when we were picking. I guess we could have at 25, but I think that was our best pick. He was rated to go much higher than that. Safety was a need, and he fell to us at 25. I thought it was a no-brainer pick. I think if they would have gotten McDonald or somebody else, that would have been just a fine pick. But I think the Dylan Thieneman pick was great. So, and then after that, if you go look at the draft board before there was a run on pass rushers in the second round where they all got picked. Um, in the mid late first round, in the second round, and there was nobody for the Bears to get really. So they went with who they liked. Like you said, with the RAS score, the tight end, as he's not much of a pass catcher, but he scored very high on the athleticism score. So did Thieneman. So did our corner. Obviously, Xavon Thomas ran a sub 4.340, so he obviously had a decent RAS score. The linebacker we got, just a potential guy who's got a lot of tackles. I like this tape, but kind of what we've been had, just kind of undersized, slow tacklers. So we'll see how what role he plays. But I agree with a lot of sentiment you had. It was a trust Ben Johnson draft. It was a down draft at all. There wasn't a lot of exciting guys. I will say that Caleb Downs almost fell to the spot I thought he would. The Cowboys traded up at 11 and got him. I was thinking if he fell to like 12, if I was Ryan Poles, I'd make a call. But besides that, it was just a boring draft. I guess Ty Simpson going at 13 was interesting, I guess, but the Rams are a really good team, a really good organization with those lots of riches. So it was they're in a position to do kind of what they want. They trade their pick all the time. But it was just a down year for the draft. Not a lot of talent, but I think in the first round the Bears came out uh, gravy in that. I think a lot of people reached. I think a lot of people fell, and I think we got somebody we really needed who was really good. And I think he was one of the safest picks in the draft, barring injury. I don't think he's going to have a bad year. And I personally think he's better than Brisker.
Yeah, he's a plug and play guy. The one thing that they said that they wanted to do this offseason was to get faster on both offense and defense. And with the draft that they had, as well as the free agent signings that they had, they definitely accomplished that feat. That was their number one goal, was to get faster, and they did exactly that. So now we got to see how that's going to translate onto the field during game plans and stuff like that. What I like about Thieneman, as well as Kobe Bryant, is that both of those safeties can play both safety positions. So that's going to be very, good for Dennis Allen in terms of disguising his rotations when
Yes,
it comes to, coverages and blitzes and stuff like that. So that's what I really like.
100%.
Um, and then I see that you brought up the undrafted free agents here. The one thing Miller Moss, that the thing he's most known for is having that big bowl game after Caleb decided to sit. You know what I'm saying? Um, he
Highly
ended
touted
up transferring
prospect
to
though. He's
Louisville.
got skills. Who knows, Ben Johnson? We'll see. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I saw that, and then of course you've got that guard, the Vanilla Gorilla they call him, and that's Caden Barnett right there out of Wyoming. Everybody's making a big deal out of him. My whole thing is that if he was so good, he wouldn't have went undrafted in a year where it was a pretty low.
I did some digging. He got a lot of holding penalties, a lot. Flagged a lot. So we'll see. It'll be fun to have him in camp and compete. Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles did come out after the draft and say we expect to coach all our guys up. So we're not too worried
Well,
about the
if
draft.
not for
Or
nothing, they are the kings of getting people with good nicknames. We had the Canadian Eagle with Theo Benedette, and now we got the Vanilla Gorilla. I mean, you cannot beat that nickname. That is a
so
very, very
yes,
good nickname.
yeah.
The
Boney
kid's a
Poles.
mauler.
Yeah, he's a scary looking guy too. But besides that, none of the other free agents. I don't know if Olin Kreutz's son. He hasn't decided where he's going to camp yet. I don't believe. I think it's between the Bears and the Giants. I'd like to see him out there. Um, I know the Bears reached out and offered, so we'll see what he does. He's undersized. Went to Illinois. Probably won't make the team, but be fun to see him at camp. Um, but I did a little bit of draft grades. Like I said, I took a step back. Um, and Tom can give his too. But like I said, round one, Thieneman, I know it's pounding on the table for a pass rusher, but we really needed a safety too. And like Tom explained, he's perfect. Him and Kobe Bryant fit together perfectly. They're interchangeable. They both are strong, free safety hybrid players who can tackle in space, who can get interceptions, who can cover in man. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. I think Brisker did a lot of things good, but he couldn't stay healthy. And I think barring injuries, Thieneman's going to be, like you said, plug and play player. Logan Jones, I gave that a B. We don't. I mean, we went out and got. If we hadn't gotten Bradbury and gotten him, I think this would have been an A+ pick. But since we went out and got Bradbury, I dropped it down to a B. I think he's still really good. If you follow
Can I
Iowa,
interject real quick?
yeah, go ahead.
For the Logan Jones pick, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think he's week one starter.
Think
If
so?
he's not week one starter, he starts by week three, week four. I
If
guarantee it.
if he's week one starter, I would say A+ because I was about to just give him a lot of praise of him. If you know about Tyler Lindenbaum, he's following basically the same path as him. He was a defensive tackle. They switched to center. He stayed till he was 25. Or 24. He's an older center, but like kicker and certain things, I think center is one of the few positions where you don't mind your guy being a little bit older, staying in the league, staying in college a little bit longer, learning. So that being said, I didn't like the pick in the moment because I wasn't locked in on the draft, so I wasn't seeing every pick. I was kind of only seeing the Bears pick and some of the important ones.
They
So I
got
didn't.
sniped. They got
Yes,
sniped by New England, and
yes,
it was telegraphed. Like
yes.
that's the thing. Everybody knew it was coming, except for the Bears apparently. So
Yeah. So I look back and when I look at all the you look back after the Logan Jones pick, there really wasn't a good pass rusher pick after that. Like
no.
there was not a real the kid from Penn State was kind of good when we picked Malik Muhammad. I kind of wanted them to take him there. But I don't but I like Malik Muhammad, so it was a good pick. Then Sam Roush got a C plus. Again, I think if we didn't have Cole Kmet or Colston Loveland, we just had one of those guys, this would be a higher pick. I think this, and I'm sure we'll talk about this a little later. I think this spun up a lot of rumors with us trading for somebody. Who knows what the Steelers are doing? They don't have a quarterback at all. Who knows? They just got a new head coach. They might be going into a rebuild. Myles Garrett just did some weird restructuring stuff, I believe, for the Browns. Is Cole Kmet on the chopping block? Who knows? But watching the tape of the kid, he hard nosed kid. Said he was a blocker first, but he scored very high on the RAS score. Who knows if he's, you know what I mean? We can turn him into a pass catcher. Stanford's a very run heavy, high form, run the ball every play type offense. So who knows if Ben Johnson can unlock him?
Well, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more 13 personnel this year with three tight ends than we've ever seen. He's a lot. Yes, he's a really good blocker, but he can develop into a pass catching tight end, or at least a pass catching threat, unlike Smythe, who was our third tight end last year. So I think this pick is definitely a Ben Johnson pick. I think you're going to see a lot of 13 personnel this year, Sean, similar to what the Rams run. The Rams run 13 personnel more than anybody else in the league. And it's a copycat league. And I think Ben Johnson loves his tight ends. He loves the running game and he loves building play action off that running game. And 13 personnel, if you have three extremely talented athletic tight ends like the Bears now do have, that's a recipe for some big play potential, especially with a guy like Sam Roush and a guy like Colston Loveland, who are athletic freaks at that position. So I'm a little excited to kind of see what Ben Johnson has
I
up his sleeve for that
I
because
agree there. Yes,
I definitely think he's got some plans for that.
watching his tape, the kid is big and strong and he is fast. He ran a pretty good 40. Again, he had a really high RAS score, so we'll see. I just think one of those other. I think because of what we already have in the roster, it but again, I couldn't see
I
who we could
agree.
have picked besides that. It's very a luxury pick, and I like I said, and I've been saying all summer, I don't think we're in a position to be making a luxury pick to lead into Xavon Thomas, and that's the only reason I give this an F because I think it was just completely a luxury pick. He is fast, but if you watch the tape, it really doesn't show. Every once in a while, he has a breakaway screen, but we've seen slow guys have a breakaway. I mean, Manunga had a bunch of big plays where he was running away from people. He did run a
I
great.
think he goes. I think he transitions to running back. I don't think he plays wide receiver for this team.
I think of a kick returner too. I'm assuming he's going to be getting some shots there. We'll see. I just didn't like the pick, especially like you were just going on about Sam Roush. If we plan to go 13 personnel, that's even less time he's going to be on the field. He's going to be what wide receiver number 5, 4. So it's like, and we're going to be in 13 personnel a lot. So it's like we drafted a guy to I guess not a semi premium pick who is going to be the 10th option on our football team, which I don't like doing.
Yeah,
That being said,
I think he's gonna be a returner and a running back.
but that being said, people get hurt. Who knows? Roma Dunze hasn't played an entire season. His whole career is bare. Maybe he does go on the field, but I just didn't really like the pick. Malik Muhammad, I gave that an A plus. I think he fell. When they picked Xavon Thomas, I wanted to pick Muhammad there. Or one. There was another corner I liked too. I wanted them to pick there. He fell to us. Muhammad fell to us there. There's a viral picture of him getting drafted, and he didn't seem too happy to be coming to the Bears. He did just like right before he went live, put something out on Instagram or something saying that it was just a crazy moment, and his all his dreams came true. And who knows? I don't know if he's lying or telling the truth. It's just weird. Usually people are more excited. I don't think I've ever seen somebody look so. I don't think he looked mad. He was just like, I don't disinterested. It just seemed like he didn't want to go to the Bears. Maybe he wanted to go somewhere in Texas or warm. Who knows? That was. For the Bears, I think it was a really good pick. He ran a 4.4. He played in the SEC, battled against a lot of good wide receivers, and like you said, he has potential to battle for the number 2 corner spot. And we've got a lot of guys. I mean, people are singing Tyreek Stevenson's praises. Don Frazier is no slouch. He was a very good college corner who is a 4.3 guy who's 6'3", I believe he is, with really long arms. And Terrell Smith, anytime he's got out in the field and when he's healthy, he's looked good. Um, on top of Thieneman and Kobe Bryant joining, our secondary is going to be interesting. I think in that aspect, we it is going to be a lot of fun. And then Keyshawn Elliott, I gave B plus. I think it's a good depth pick. Somebody goes down, I think he'll be a veteran guy, step right in, make a lot of tackles. He can't cover for shit, but we won't ask him to do a lot. And then Jordan Vandenberg, kid from South Carolina, like you or not South Africa, not South Carolina. I gave that a pick. We really needed a DT there. Obviously, there's a reason he was there in the seventh round, but the kid's got crazy measurables. Again, I'll bring up Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson preached and preached about we're supposed to be coaches and we're going to coach these guys up, and we're not so much worried
Well,
about drafting somebody who's going to step right in and
I will say this. I know we talk about edge rush a lot and everything else. You and I would you say that you're big on trends, Sean?
yes.
So if I told you that, over the last 20 years, there has not been a single Super Bowl champion that has had a top five paid defensive end edge rusher in the league, what would you think
You
about
said
that?
10. You said 10 years.
20 years.
20 years.
In the last 20 years, there has not been a top five edge rusher in terms of being paid. Like, you know what I'm saying? The top five earners in edge rusher in the NFL the last 20 years has not won a Super Bowl. Most of that money, most of that stuff has come from the interior defensive line. Um, so if they can get an athletic freak, somebody who turns into um, a force on the inside, kind of do like a sack by committee in terms of what Seattle did
Oh
last
yeah,
year.
definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Because Seattle, they didn't have a single guy over 7 sacks last year, but they still led the league in pressures because every single one of them was, as a unit, was getting after the quarterback. But when I read that statistic, the statistic that I just shared with you, it kind of put things into perspective for me a little bit. Like, yeah, you want that guy, right? But if you can build something from the inside out in terms of the interior defensive line, we've always talked about this, about how having a interior disruptor, somebody who could put pressure to the quarterback in the quarterback's face as opposed to the outside, because it's a lot easier for a quarterback to step up as opposed to, try to get around interior pressure. I think that makes a huge difference. And if this Jordan, yeah, there's a reason why he was a seventh round pick. He's got insane elite measurables. But how many of these combine workout warriors have we seen not work out?
He's got bad
Um,
technique. I mean, you see the flashes sometimes, but he played against the big boys with real guys who are going against the NFL, and they handled them pretty good. But we'll see. I mean, like you said, it's guys get better every year. We see guys who got drafted late or blossom, and I have high expectations for the Bears coaching staff. We got Shamar Turner coming back. Um, Trevon Dexter has
we
been
got a
under
motivated Dio.
a motivated Dio. Sweat. We were beating on him, but he had a decent year last year. Booker, well, if he plays all year, I mean, he probably get 10 sacks.
Did you
And
see the Instagram reel or whatever it was about Austin Booker in the gym?
yeah, oh yeah, he's
Oh
looking good.
my
Yeah, he's
God.
looking. So maybe that's what they saw, and again, I'll bring it up one more time. After going through the draft and looking through all the picks, I don't think the Bears really did anything wrong. There was no really passers to get. It was the only gripe you could have is if they should have took somebody there instead of Thieneman, possibly, because I guess when they picked Logan Jones, the kid from that you had them taking the first round, got picked right after him. So we could have got McDonald and the kid from
EMW.
yeah, EMW, and I guess
Yeah, dude, but I'm okay with that because, like
again,
I
I am
said,
too. I'm
Thieneman's
just
just
saying.
a
I think that's the only gripe you could have. But after that,
yeah.
like if you're fine with the Thieneman pick, there was nobody to get after that. There's no defensive lineman to draft after that. That would have been any good. So Ben and them went with their board, like we all kind of guess were worried he was going to do. But we'll see. I mean, we were worried about the Coastal 11 pick. We were worried about the Luther Burden pick. Um, even the Ozzie Trujillo pick, and they all seem to work out. And we both are high on Logan Jones. Uh, you seem to think he'll be starting week one. I don't know. I mean, Bradbury was just playing in the Super Bowl. He's been in the NFL for like 8 years, starter the whole time. So I would be, and we traded for him. So I would be hard pressed, barring something injury or and he gets moved around, that he's not going to be, unless you think Tooney's going to be at left tackle. Bradbury goes to guard.
No, no, I honestly think, and here, this is just me. This is my personal opinion on it. I think that Logan Jones goes into training camp, and with his athleticism and his ability to block the outside zone scheme that Ben Johnson likes to run, I honestly think Ben Johnson does what he feels is best for the team, and he goes with the younger, faster center in Logan Jones.
I I kind of agree that I think Logan Jones is probably better than Bradbury. Um, I just think I don't know, football's weird. They usually don't. Seniority is a thing. I think it would be, especially at the offensive line. Very rarely is some like young guy starting over some like guy who's got crazy experience and was the starter on one of the best offenses with the guy who came in second place in MVP. So
I understand, I get that, but like I just have this sneaky
I
feeling.
mean, when you
But
say it, it doesn't sound. Well, I will agree with you. It doesn't sound crazy because Logan Jones is a dog and he is a really good center. And I'm almost positive next season he will 100% be our starting center. I don't think Bradbury's tenure in Chicago is going to be long. I just think maybe it won't be week 3, maybe later in the season. Logan Jones comes in. I just think seniority wise, we traded for him. He's got chemistry with Bradbury or with Dooney, and again, like I said, he had a pretty good year last year. It wasn't amazing, but he was started every game and protected the second place MVP guy. So but besides that, and we'll see. I'm really interested to see what Roush does too. I think he's going to get a lot of snaps. Um, I I don't think they drafted him for no reason. I don't think they're drafting him, stashing, waiting for Cole Kmet to be gone. So I think they have a plan for him, and I think so with Xavon Thomas too. Maybe that is interesting. You say that maybe they're getting to work him in at running back. I mean, Swift's getting old. I mean, we did get blessed last year that Monungai or Swift didn't get hurt. I mean, we had
exactly.
I mean, as many injuries we had on the round, we had a lot of guys who played a lot of games where normally we're probably not going to get blessed again, where Monungai and Swift don't miss any games. So, and we don't have DJ Moore anymore, who's going to be playing every snap. Burden, Loveland, Rome, all miss
What's
games.
what's Xavon Thomas's measurables? Like what's his
I think
height and
he's
weight?
6 foot, like 190, and he ran the 4.28.
So now I'm not comparing him. Okay, I don't want anybody. What I'm about to say, I don't want anybody thinking that I'm comparing him to this player. But remember how I was saying that
5'10", 190.
you know how I was saying the one person I wanted the Bears to trade for last year from the Miami Dolphins
Oh,
being
HN.
Devon Achane with his speed. He seems like he's going to be Ben Johnson's Devon Achane. I really
Maybe. I
think
mean, I
he.
agree because he was like they reached they. I mean, everyone's legitimately saying all the experts are saying that he would have been there when we got Keyshawn Elliott. Um, and there were several wide receivers I would have preferred besides him. I don't know much about him. I don't got the eyeballs to be watching SEC football like I watched the Big Ten, but there were some good guys from the Big Ten I thought who, I mean, were clearly better college receivers than him. But I think Ben Johnson does have a vision for him, and maybe he does see something that we don't see. The kid does have the measurables. He is fast, and I've seen some of the flashes, but you don't see it in his route running. He doesn't break away from guys in the route running. He doesn't get a lot of separation. But that is something you teach people. Or you can scheme up to get the guy the ball in space with guys off him. So that's where Ben Johnson steps in. So we'll see how it goes. And again, Malik Muhammad, I have a feeling he's going to be
I think that's going to be the pick of the draft.
Malik Muhammad.
Is Malik Muhammad? Yes.
I think yes, I agree. I think he's really good. And like I said, I was pounding on the table for him when we picked Thomas. Then one last thing we'll hit really quick: what the guys in the NFC North were doing. Um, I like the Lions draft like I usually do because they love to draft Michigan guys, which I mean I guess their hometown guys. But they always get guys that I really like. I really like Derek Moore, and I think he would have fit really well on our team. But Lions still need they get Miller more. Caleb Banks, like we said, all the mocks he was going in the second round, but we both knew that somebody was going to take him in the first round. I knew it. I knew just like Kenneth Grant, so he's going to jump up. And then the Packers
Hey,
are going
I'm
to get.
glad they took I'm glad they took Caleb Banks because that's the reason why Thieneman dropped to us at 25 was because
Yeah,
Minnesota did not take him at 18.
which is great. They got the kid from the tackle from Northwestern. I really liked it, and then the Packers got Cease, the corner for South Carolina. I think that was a really good pick for them. He fell. I thought he was going to go a lot earlier than he did. I think that was a really good pick. They always draft really well. The DT from Missouri, he's okay. I did bring up the edge from Penn State. He's not very. He doesn't have the stats to match, but he is long and fast. And on the Packers, he'll be playing opposite of Micah Parsons, so that'll help a lot. We'll see how that goes, but nothing too exciting. Again, just a weird draft where there just wasn't a lot of talent. It was really like who was going to get Caleb Downs, who was going to get Jeremiah Love, and everything else is just like just boring. Um, but that was the draft. Um, what will you give the Bears? I gave them a B. I didn't give them an overall. Talk about my overgrade, but I gave them a B for the
Yeah,
draft.
the only thing I would have changed from that, like I said, is I would have given the Logan Jones pick a little bit of a better grade just from me personally. I agree with all of the rest of your grades on there. I think the Xavon Thomas thing kind of changes once we
When we
get
see, yeah,
into once we get into camp, but based off of just initial just initial kind of going into the draft and stuff like that. Yeah, definitely a B. Overall, a B. I mean, you got two guys in Thieneman and Malik Muhammad that I believe are going to be home run picks. I think Logan Jones is a home run pick just because you got probably the best center in the draft in the second round. And he's definitely gonna be a future starter, and I do
oh,
think he will start sometime this
yeah,
year.
I agree with the
And
future star. Next year, no way. But this year be weird. But like I said, I don't think it'll happen. But I don't think it's crazy to say. I think honestly, Logan Jones right now, even with Bradbury being a vet, I think Logan Jones is a better player overall than him. But being better and having all that experience are two different things. And especially playing offensive line in the NFL, it's more of a it's Iowa is a lineman factory, but it's not the same as playing in the NFL. It's definitely not playing in the Super Bowl. He also played in the NFC North for a very long time as well. Uh, but again, like I said, I gave him a B. I think after the draft, I probably would have gave him a D while I was in my feelings, or you know what I mean, those days. But again, sifting back through the draft, I think they're Thieneman fell to them, and it was a no doubter. I think he was really a top 15 pick. How he fell to us is good. We needed him, so you go get him. That's why I gave it A plus. And then after that, they didn't pass up on any for sure thing. Every lineman I think they would have took it, or pass rusher would have been a reach at that point. And so they drafted best available or their whatever Ben wanted to do, and like last year, we kind of felt this way. We were weary about Luther Burden. We didn't know what we were going to get from him. We didn't know what we were going to get from Colston Loveland, even though I liked him. I was like, hey, and then even the first couple of weeks in, we're going to have to give Ben some time. Colston Loveland, it took him 3, 4, 5 weeks to really get involved in the offense. Same with Mononga. It took a couple of weeks to get him going. So we're going to have to trust Ben and Poles and hopefully build on it. And hope these guys who were injured, Shamar Turner, Isaiah Frazier, take a step. Maybe Grady Jarrett, you know what I mean, knocks off the dust, gets his head out of his ass. The coaches light a fire to him, and Austin Booker stays healthy, and that's how we're going to have to do with the pass rush. There's still a few guys out there. To pull it up before we get done running off.
yeah, I think isn't Cameron Jordan still out there?
Cameron Jordan, Joey Bosa. I'll post them. He's got a lot of comments.
Bosa might be a little bit out of their price range.
Yeah, Calais Campbell, DJ Reader, Larry Ongajobi. We passed on him a couple. Or well, didn't he like? I forgot.
No,
What
we
happened.
traded for him and then he failed his physical.
Yes. That's what it was.
That was Ryan Pohl's first big move as GM of the
Yes.
Chicago
Okay. Yeah, I
Bears.
remember that.
was signing him and then going back on it because he failed his physical.
We got Leonard Floyd reunion. Hassan Reddick, Kyle Vinoy. I guess for cheap. I just honestly, I wanted them to draft somebody. Whoever they drafted would have been a rotational piece anyway, and hope for the future. I do still want them to go out and get somebody. Austin Booker hasn't been healthy, and who knows? I mean, what if Sweat goes down? Well, if anybody goes down, I think we still just need one more. I mean, even if Shamar Turner and all those guys have been healthy all year, it doesn't hurt to have one more guy to have a fresh legs out there and the pass rush by committee. And I think Poles is going to do something. I think the draft didn't fall perfectly. I think they got a lot of stuff they want, but I do think deep down they did want to get a defensive lineman in the draft. I think they're not done yet. And they got a couple of undrafted guys. They probably won't make the team, but we'll see. But yeah,
we still got a couple months before camp, like a month and a half. So there's definitely something, these stuff happens every day in the league. So we'll kind of see what happens before the start of training camp and everything else like that, and see if Ryan Poles has something up his sleeve.
Yeah, those draft less eventful than years past. Again, the talent level's down. If it's the NIL, we don't know. Maybe guys are just staying a lot longer. Not a lot of juniors. Definitely no sophomores are leaving. And maybe that's just going to be the move. I mean, next year it's going to be a much more hyped up class. Jeremiah Smith possibly will be coming out. There'll be like 5 first-round quarterbacks. And
because don't you got Jeremiah Smith? You got Ryan Williams.
Yeah. Well, they can. They might say too. I think they'll be juniors. I just think at some point you get to the point where like Marvin Harrison Jr. It's like, why stay? I mean, you can make a little bit more. I don't know. I guess I would have to. If I was a running back, I'd probably stay. I don't know. If you don't think you're going to be a top 15 pick, I wouldn't. And Jeremiah Smith knows he's going to be like.
It's crazy that both Notre Dame running backs were taken in the first round.
That was interesting that the Seahawks did that. I guess the luxury pick. I mean, I didn't get it, but I guess worked out for us. We got Logan Jones because they running back, and that's one less person. But yeah, that was very weird. I don't get why they did it, but we will see how Ben Johnson's draft picks go. Not much going on else at Chicago Sports Club. It was after like a 10-game win streak.
I don't know, man. The Southside Samurai, Murakami.
Oh yeah, Murakami
hitting bombs, bro.
Yes, he's. I think he's maybe 1 or 2 out of the league.
As of yesterday, he was first in the league with 12.
Okay.
But he is hitting bombs. And my thing
is
that he's only signed to a 2-year, $34 million deal right now, right? Yeah. Nobody wanted to pay him this offseason. The White Sox were one of the only teams that was actually going to give him any money. So with that being said, and I know, Jerry is cheap. White Sox ownership is cheap. But with that being said, if you're the Chicago White Sox, personally, I'm going to Murakami and offering him like a 5-year deal, like $150 million. Because if he, for some reason, hits like 50 or 60 bombs this year, at the end of next year when he, it becomes a free agent, he's completely priced himself out of, being a Chicago White Sox.
He'll be on the Dodgers, right behind fucking Shohei.
So, do you get ahead of the curve, and do you at least offer his agents of a 5-year, $150 million deal with what he's shown so far in the first 2 months of the season, month and a half of the season?
Is he still making the decisions? Aren't those brothers? Didn't they say they would have their hand in it, or the guys who are buying the
Ishbias? But the Ishbias don't fully take over until like 2030.
Okay, I mean, obviously that would be the smart thing to do. Luckily for Japanese players, what we've seen, they're pretty loyal. So I think if you do get out in front of it, you might be able to lock them down for something long term.
You need a cornerstone if you're the Chicago White Sox.
Or something for the fans to go get the Asian community, the Asians to come out and watch them play, and everybody. But yeah, he's hitting bombs. We've been scoring a lot of runs. Noah Schultz had a pretty good game. His last game out. He's only getting better as long as he doesn't get hurt. I think it's fun. We got a kid who's from from my neck of the woods and from the area.
Yeah, we got to see him pitch on Saturday.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We went to the game. 35,000 people in an April game that was not a home opener for the Chicago White
That's
Sox to
not
see
bad.
Noah Schultz pitch. Yeah, there was 35,000 fans in attendance on Saturday, and that's a lot
Yeah, for a
for.
Sox game.
I
Oh
was
yeah.
I was not expecting. So they had like
No,
a
when you said
giveaway. First
35, I was
15,000
like,
fans, 21 and over, were supposed to get like jackets. We were running a little bit late because we took little man to Ed DeBevick's for the first time in his life, which was a fantastic experience, by the way. If you've never been to Ed DeBevick's, I highly recommend you take your kids there. It's a lot of fun. But I was telling my wife, and I was like, look, there's never 15,000 fucking people at right field on a fucking Saturday against the goddamn Washington Nationals. Like, we're good. You know what I'm saying? We get there and there's 35,000 fucking people. I was like, oh shit. Like, we actually,
well, it's good
it
to
was
see.
a
Maybe
good
it is more
vibe.
common, and that's all it is. Like I think Jerry, he, I don't know what he did with the Bulls and the Sox, where I don't know, he didn't care, or his sons don't care like he used to, because even when we were mediocre, it just seemed like he cared. Go out and get fucking Manny Ramirez or fucking Jim Tolman. Like he would at least try. And the last few years, it didn't seem like that. Now maybe they're getting back to it, but like you said, we got the Samurai hitting bombs. It would be crazy if he was even close to leading the league in home runs. And right now, he's on pace to do it, at least be top five. Um, but and again, we got a nice little tall 6'8" freak of a kid who, I mean, he's not a superstar yet, but hometown kid. We all, again, like you said, we all go out and support him, and it'll be fun. The Cubs, like I said, I think they lost the last 3 in a row after winning like 10 straight. So they got to figure it out. And then the Bulls and the Blackhawks are doing Bulls and Blackhawks.
What's funny is that all 3 games that they lost, ESPN radio host David Kaplan went out to the West Coast. He was at the last 2 games of the Dodgers and the game against the Padres that they lost after winning 10 in a row. So now they were giving him shit this morning on the radio, saying that he's like the ultimate fucking cooler, because every fan
I haven't
group's
been
got
listening
one of those
much.
guys.
It's funny you say that, because I was listening not today, yesterday, and I was like, oh, I forgot he wasn't on. And I don't know. I honestly don't like Kaplan anymore. I used to love Cap and Hood, and I like Hoodie a lot, but honestly, I didn't like how he covered Justin Fields. And I thought he was kind of a prick about it. But we'll see again. So, but it's funny to see that, yes, he's the bad luck charm for the Cubs. But let us know your guys' grades in the comments, how you feel about what Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles did. Like and follow, subscribe, all that. Keep helping us grow. I think we broke 22,000 since last time I saw you. I want to try and get to 25 by the time the season starts, maybe 50 by the end of the season.
And let us know how many home runs does Murakami hit this year?
Yes. How many?
Let's drop your predictions right now in April.
Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna say he hits 46.
Price is Right rules. I'll say 42.
I'm going 46.
Right, again,
let us know, guys.
The comments, like, follow, subscribe, and we will see you guys next week. Adios.
See you next week.